On August 24th, in the year 79, the people of Pompeii woke up like they did every other day. They had no idea it would be their last. This is what that day looked like, hour by hour, before the mountain that had watched over their city for centuries finally spoke. It began the way mornings always did. Lucius woke to golden light through his window. Down the hall, his mother Julia braided his little sister's hair by lamplight, humming softly, the same song she hummed every morning, without ever thinking about why. His father Marcus was already at work, kneading dough before sunrise. Bread that, by tomorrow, would never be eaten. Lucius helped carry the fresh loaves outside to cool. The street smelled like it always did. Warm, familiar, safe. A few doors down, old Tiro arranged his baskets of figs and grapes, just as he had for 30 years. Some mornings feel exactly like the one before it. This one did too, at first. Lucius met his best friend Cato at the corner, and the two boys ran through the streets laughing, the way boys do when they believe they have all the time in the world. Flavia sat on the villa steps, arranging her small clay figures in careful rows, lost in her own quiet world. In the courtyard, Julia watered her herbs and hummed to herself. Nothing about this moment seemed worth remembering. That's exactly why no one did. The boys stopped at the town fountain, splashing water, watching it catch the light. It was just an ordinary Tuesday. Or so they thought. Old Tiro handed Flavia a ripe fig, the way he did most mornings. Small kindness, small moment. The kind that fills a whole childhood without anyone noticing. But if you looked closely that morning, really looked, you might have noticed something. Marcus paused outside the bakery, staring a little longer than usual at the mountain in the distance. A faint wisp of smoke curled from its peak. It had always been there, but something about it felt different today. Lucius and Cato noticed it too, sitting on the garden wall. They pointed at the smoke, curious, unbothered. After all, the mountain had never done anything before. Why would today be any different? The market filled with color and noise. Pottery, cloth, fresh produce, familiar voices calling out prices. Julia and Flavia moved through it the way they always had, unaware they were walking through the last market day Pompeii would ever see. Old Tiro gathered the neighborhood children under the shade of a fig tree, telling stories he'd told 100 times before. None of them knew this would be the last time they'd hear it. Lucius taught his sister to write her letters in the dust with a stick, laughing at her wobbly attempts. Small, forgettable moments, the kind history usually erases without a trace. In the bakery doorway, Marcus and Julia watched their children play, saying nothing. They didn't need to. They had said everything important 1,000 ordinary days before this one. Lucius and Cato snuck toward the public baths, peeking at the steam rising off the heated pools. One more small adventure in a day that felt like it would never end. Flavia chased a stray cat through a sunlit alley, laughing, past painted walls that had stood for generations. Walls that, tomorrow, would be buried and forgotten for nearly 2,000 years. Old Tiro showed Lucius how to choose the ripest grapes, sharing patience passed down from someone who taught him the same thing decades ago. At home, Julia laid out bread, olives, and cheese for the midday meal. An ordinary lunch, the last one this family would ever share. They gathered around the table, laughing over one of Marcus's stories about a clumsy customer. No one rushed. No one said anything important. They assumed, like all of us do, that there would always be more ordinary days ahead. Outside, Cato waited for Lucius, tossing a ball against the wall, again and again. The small, patient rhythm of a childhood afternoon. The boys played catch in the town square as the afternoon light stretched long shadows across the stones. Shadows that, in less than a day, would be gone forever, along with everything that cast them. Old Tiro dozed off in his chair, his straw hat tilted over his eyes. The town moved quietly around him, the way it always had on a warm afternoon. In the shade of the courtyard, Julia combed her daughter's hair as birds chirped nearby. The kind of small, tender moment no one ever thinks to hold on to, until it's the only thing left. As evening came, Marcus closed his shutters and looked toward the mountain one more time. The smoke had thickened, just slightly. He didn't know what he was looking at. No one in Pompeii did. There was no word yet for what was coming. That night the family shared dinner by lamplight, unaware it was the last ordinary night they would ever spend together. Before bed, Lucius looked out his window at the stars, the town glowing softly beneath a quiet sky. Tomorrow felt as certain as every day before it always had. Old Tiro closed his stall for the night, pausing to glance once more toward Vesuvius before walking home. If he felt anything unusual, he never had the chance to say what it was. That night, Pompeii went to sleep the way it always had. In less than 12 hours, none of them would be here. And the mountain they had lived beside their entire lives, the one they barely noticed, was about to become the only thing anyone would ever remember about this place. What happened the next morning changed how the world remembers Pompeii forever.